There are few handicaps in life greater than growing up without a dad. And it makes me sad to read in the comments how many of you have had to emerge from that. I'm so grateful to my dad because he taught me how to work, and I was afraid of him for a while, and then I worked with him in the woods, and I learned not to fear him, but just to respect him. And the thing that I will always remember that he drilled down on over and over is this: hurry every chance you get. Have you ever heard that? I heard it a few times in the construction world. And it speaks to the fundamental characteristic of people who learn how to be very productive. As a kid, I sort of overlooked the wisdom in that, hurry every chance you get, and just concentrated on the urgency I felt to please my dad and get his approval. But as I've gotten older and I've used that phrase with some of the people, particularly the younger people that I've worked with, I realize it's packed with implications for becoming a top hand. Not every moment is a chance to hurry. And so if it is not a chance to hurry, then don't hurry. What it implies is being able to recognize, so you're driving. Think about driving. You can't hurry all the time when you're driving, or you're going to kill yourself or someone else. You can hurry in driving on a long, straight, clear stretch on a clear day where the visibility is unrestricted and the traffic is light. Then you can hurry. In the dark, in the rain, in windy roads, in poorly lit roads, and any number of other circumstances, you better not hurry. And it's the same in work. I don't care what kind of work you're doing. There are times when to hurry is to throw away time because you're going to make mistakes. There is a phrase that I've learned on the channel from the comments. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. So what that means is that there is a gear that we can find where we appear to be unhurried, but in fact are producing lots and lots of work. And probably some of you have known people like that, and if you do, please put it in the comments because we learn from it. Part of hurrying every chance you get is taking your work responsibility home with you. And then in the quiet moments at home, hurrying in that you're thinking about and organizing and maybe making lists of the things that you should do tomorrow. Now that is easy and automatic and instinctive if you're the owner, if you have skin in the game, if you're paid by the piece, if you have to satisfy the demands of employees and schedules and bank loans, it's easy to do that. But if you want a promotion at work, if you are an employee, spend a little time hurrying, that is, solving the problems in your work environment at home. There's some satisfaction in it, and there will be recognition. Hurry every chance you get. Now, another aspect in construction, people think that construction is measuring and laying out and fastening and cutting, and yeah, it's all of those things. But 80% of construction is handling material. It's picking it up and putting it in place. 80% of what we do is that or related to that. What that means is never not be moving material or tools. That means that if you're carrying something to a workstation, then when you leave that workstation and go to another spot of the job site, look for something to carry with you. It's a mistake to walk across a job site with your hands empty. Make every trip pay. You will begin to become one of those exceptionally productive people. Now, there are more things related to that. If you're on the beginning of a construction career, you're a construction laborer, your repertoire of tools and processes is small. Maybe it's carrying boards, sweeping, cleaning up, stacking material, maybe that's it. What that means is you never walk across the job site. You trot. Now, I'm not saying that you flat out run because, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, but you trot. You walk at a hurried pace everywhere you go. Not only does that mean that you will have the self-respect of knowing that you're earning your check, but it means that you're always earning the respect of the people you work with. Even the nastiest, even the most demanding and confirmation-biased, burdened, and irritable old journeyman carpenter is going to have a higher regard for you as a construction laborer if he sees you trotting back and forth. It's in your best interest. Now, if you learn that, and that's what a lot of dads teach their boys growing up, so maybe you learn that later, that when you walk onto a job site, your time is not your own, you're selling your time. And so you need to give the people you're selling your time to value. You hurry every chance you get. Now, if you make the mistake, as I did for too long, of thinking that I needed to hurry all of the time, sometimes you're going to run off the road. You're going to run off the road if you're hurrying at the wrong time. So you've got to develop the capacity to know, okay, right now I can pick up some time, and right now I can spend some time in order to get that better. This gets to the crux of craftsmanship. To know the difference between just work and when the time comes to do something as beautifully as you can do it. Now, that's not always the case. I did piecework framing in Las Vegas for, I think, 3 years maybe. And I ended up specializing in roof stacking. I liked it up off the ground. And in one tract, I, along with 3 other guys that were working for me, stacked 164 houses in one tract in 1 year. That didn't count the other tracts we jumped out to sort of fill in when Nevada Framers was caught up in Crystal Bay and could send us over to another one. We could kick the work out. And we did that because we broke into 2 teams, and we would be working across the street from each other, Bob Kripe and Jr. on one side and Bob Egan and I on the other side, and it was fun to race. It was fun to race. And then it dawned on Bob one day, he said, wait a minute, even if I win, you win, because I was paid for the amount we produced and they were paid by the hour, but we had a good time. But we were productive because everybody knew when they could hurry and when they had to slow down. Now, we did a video early in the channel, how to be more productive. And we talked a lot about the sort of entry-level advantages. Do one task until the task is done. When you've got to drill a bunch of holes, drill all the holes. Cutting material in place rather than cutting them on a sawhorse and then placing them precisely. You know, making sure the tools you have are available and are serviced and are not tangled up with each other, and staging. There's all manner of things that you can do to establish a flow. And that's different for different people. But I think it's possible to over-optimize for efficiency and to get tunnel vision about that it's only time we're trying to save. There's several things that are always on the table for being optimized. There's appropriate use of the material. There's appropriate use of the budgeted time. There's appropriate use of the other people that you're responsible for and how to use them efficiently. But it's easy to focus on just one, not wasting material, or not wasting time, or not wasting the efforts of the people around you, instead of keeping a balance of the appropriate optimization of all of the resources at your discretion. Now, if you're a laborer, the resources at your discretion are, how long can I shovel at this rate, right? What is it that I carry from point A to point B when I need to go to point B that are going to help me when I'm overworked? Yeah, there's all of those things. But as your responsibility on a job increases, you have to become more adept at keeping track of all of the plates that are spinning in order to optimize for efficiency. One of the, I think, really big deals about hurrying every chance you get is not to get locked into your own confirmation bias, but to be able to, whatever you're doing, think of that task as a problem to be solved and understood better. And while you're doing the task, rotate in your mind what it is that you're doing from a 30,000 foot perspective and from an up close perspective, and look at what you're doing from every possible angle and use your creativity. Let your creativity lead you to the right ways to hurry and maintain the quality that the job requires. And one point on that, the craftsmanship aspect, the quality aspect is usually not when you're an employee, it's not up to you. And how long it should take you to do it is not up to you. It's up to the person that's signing your check. And it's their expectations that are reflected in your creativity and work choices in order to be doing what it is they're paying you to do. Maybe that's obvious. But don't pick a hill to die on that is not supported by what your employer would identify as a hill to die on. Just don't do it. To get back to the point of how craftsmanship manifests itself in these situations is, if nobody's looking over your shoulder, it's easy to just become rushed all the time if it's making you more money. But that's an ethical compromise, because sometimes what you're doing has to be done as well as you can. Now, I worked union for a while down there, and one of the superintendents I worked for, Bob McGinnis, made the comment. We were talking about an individual who was working he was never in any kind of a hurry. Any kind of a hurry. In fact, sometimes he was just bone slow. And the comment was that, Jim, working union, has seen a lot of people fired for being sloppy, and he's never seen anybody fired for being slow. But out in the tracks, in the private sector, where it's a different mentality, you rarely saw anyone fired for being sloppy, but you always saw people fired for being slow. Can you see that? A top hand learns to be able to thrive in both environments by knowing how to hurry every chance you get. Part of what emerges from this is hurrying is best accomplished in the systems that you generate. Slowing down and building jigs and staging the material carefully and scaffolding may not produce work in the minute, but it produces a system that will put you miles ahead of not having done it that way. It's hurrying every chance you get. Now, as I wrap this up, maybe you're not interested in becoming productive. If that's the case, I'm sorry for you. And I hope those of you who are watching this who learn to be productive and learn to value being productive will comment and provide encouragement for those of us who haven't quite caught that bug yet. And on the other hand, I'm looking for the comments of those of us who perhaps were not hurrying, but harried and squandered some of the enjoyment that can come from getting into the zen of the work. We're interested in hearing that. I didn't work with a guy, but Dustin Furch told me about a guy one time who, in a conversation with a boss who was leaning on him because he wasn't going fast enough, he said, I got 2 speeds, and if you don't like this one, you're really gonna not like my other one. Okay, I'm not sure that employment relationship lasted too much longer, but not everybody has to be a fireball, but everybody has to find a place where they shine. And if we all can just think about what it means to hurry every chance we get, and don't hurry if it's not the right opportunity, I think there are a lot of aspects of our lives that will be improved thereby. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.